What if I told you that one of the best problem-solving tools out there isn't some fancy new app, but a simple diagram that's actually been around for over 100 years? It's called a flowchart, and we're going to dive into why this simple tool has the surprising power to bring a little bit of order to our chaotic world.
All right, so to really get a feel for this, let's start with the problem, a really common one. You know that feeling, right? You're staring down a challenge. Maybe it's a bug in your code, a project at work that's gone off the rails, or even just something simple that's broken at home, and you just have no idea where to even begin. Your brain just feels like this tangled mess of dead ends. But what if you had a map for that feeling? Look at this, a broken lamp. Is it plugged in? No? Well, okay, plug it in. Yes? All right, next question, is the bulb burned out? All of a sudden, that mental tangle is gone, replaced by a clear, logical path. And that's exactly what a flowchart does. It turns that feeling of confusion into a simple series of questions and actions.
So, what is this thing really? How does it manage to turn all that chaos into such a clear path?
At its heart, a flowchart is just a visual map of a process. It uses a handful of standard shapes to lay out every single step and every decision point. You know, it's less like a boring to-do list and more like a GPS for your problem. It shows you exactly how to get from point A to point B, from problem to solved. And this idea is not new. I mean, we're talking way back in 1921, these two industrial psychologists, Frank and Lillian Gilbreth, they figured out something absolutely crucial. They said, before you can improve anything, you have to be able to see the whole process at once. That insight is why flowcharts are still so powerful. It gets everyone on the same page, looking at the exact same map.
Now, to read any map, you need to know what the signs mean. Flowcharts have their own incredibly simple universal language, and it's made up of just a few key symbols.
This is pretty much the entire vocabulary you need to know. Ovals are just the start and finish lines. Rectangles are for actions, the do-this parts. But the real workhorse, the most important one, is the diamond. That's your decision point. It's where you ask a question like, is the lamp plugged in? And then follow the path for yes or no. And the arrows, well, they just connect everything and show you which way to go. That's it. With just these shapes, you can map out some seriously complex stuff.
So, we have the language. How do we actually put it to work? How do we take a big, messy idea and turn it into one of these clean, logical flowcharts?
The secret is a strategy called top-down design. Now, that might sound a little technical, but the idea is incredibly simple. Don't try to solve the entire giant problem all at once. You start with the big picture, and you just break it down into smaller and smaller pieces until they're easy to manage.
Let's make it super simple. Say your goal is make pancakes. That's kind of big. Where do you even start? So you break it down. First level, organize the kitchen. Make the batter, cook the pancakes. Okay, that's better. But make the batter is still a process, so you go a level deeper on that one. Sift the flour, break the eggs, whisk everything together. You see? You're turning one huge, vague idea into a bunch of small, crystal-clear actions.
And here's the crucial part. Each one of those tiny, detailed steps, whisk, break eggs, sift flour, that's a perfect candidate for a process rectangle in your flowchart. Once you've broken the big problem down, building the actual flowchart is just a matter of connecting the dots.
But of course, for other people to follow those dots, you have to speak the language clearly. So let's go over a few common mistakes that can turn your beautiful roadmap into a confusing mess.
Okay, there are 3 big tropes to watch out for. First, every journey needs a clear beginning and end, right? So always use those start and end ovals. Second, don't get creative and invent your own symbols. These standard shapes are a universal language for a reason. Stick to them. And finally, keep the traffic flowing. Your arrows should pretty much always go from top to bottom or left to right. You want an easy-to-follow path, not a tangled web.
And you can really see the difference it makes here. The one on the left is just chaos. You don't know where it starts, the lines are crossing, the shapes are wrong. It's useless. But the one on the right, by applying those 3 simple rules, clear start and end, standard symbols, and a clean flow, the exact same process becomes perfectly clear. This is what we're aiming for, turning that mess into an intuitive guide. So when you bring all of this together, the flowchart really does transform from being just a diagram into something way more powerful.
It literally gives you the power to see an entire process at a glance. You can spot the bottlenecks, the places where things always get stuck, almost instantly. It makes the invisible parts of a process visible.
And that frees up your brain to stop worrying about remembering the steps and start thinking about improving them.
So, I'll leave you with this question. What's that one process in your life, maybe at work, maybe at home, that just feels clunky or confusing? What's the very first problem that you're going to make visible with a flowchart?
Because ultimately, that's the real power of this tool. You can't fix a problem that you can't see. And a good flowchart, well, it gives you the glasses you need to finally see it clearly.